I worked at a pub as a waitress when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager in a tiny little like small country town that I grew up in, middle of whoop whoop. If you were in a tiny town and there was one pub, many teenagers, how did you get picked? My winning personality. No, literally, I when I was a teenager, I went down the main strip, which is like was one road. It was like one singular road with a bunch of cafes and like, you know, where you could get like pies and milkshakes and then pub and whatever. And I went in there with my file full of my resumes and I walked in there and I was like, hi, I have my resume. I'm looking for a job, and I handed it over. And then I went to the next building and I did that to get a summer holiday. And I got a call back from the pub and they're like, can you come in? And I was like, yes. And that's how I got my second job, actually, because the first job I ever did was at a cafe. It was like one of those tuck shops where they sold everything. No, oh my god, everyone thinks I'm saying cuck shop. No, I didn't. My first job was not working the cuck chair. Shut the fuck up. No, my first job, fuck you all. My first job was a tuck shop, like tucker, like food, like, shut up. Tucker is an Australian slang for snacks and convenience. Okay, I worked at a combini. Sorry, your weeb ass can't understand what I'm talking about. I worked at a fucking Australian combini, like a gas station. We sold everything: coffee, pastries, fishing equipment. Okay, it was like everything, and you could get lollies and snacks. Not that kind of lollies. You could get sweets and chocolates and sausage rolls and meat pies and hot chips and literally everything. I think we had like a pizza deli and we had you could get everything from this place. So the first job I ever worked was one of these places, and I actually got fired, by the way. Gene Famous, I got fired from my first ever job. What? New law drop. Okay. So the lady that ran this shop, right? She was a bitch. She was a bitch. So she was stealing money from the local church. She was a lady that counted the donations at the local church, and she was actually taking some off the top. And they found this out, and she got in big trouble about it. I know, she was like a bitch, and she was low-key selling weed to apparently to like the group of the delinquent boys. She was crazy. I've heard this like years later, but I was like, I work for that bitch, and everyone was like, didn't you know she was stealing money from the church? And I went, no, was she? And they're like, yeah, and she was also like selling weed to the kids, and I was like, no. This is small town bullshit, by the way. Like, this is just what happens. This is just what happens in small towns. People just be doing crazy stuff. And I was like, I never got any weed. What the fuck? So what happened was, she was a terrible, terrible, horrible, mean, horrible woman. And I got paid like, what was it? Like $4 an hour, my first job. Completely underpaid by Australian standards. I got paid nothing. And I did everything. She made me do everything. She made me mop the floor. She made me clean out everything. It was because it was a place where it was a shop that sold everything. So I had to do everything. She had me like making pizza dough and cleaning the floors, and she was terrible, terrible, horrible lady. Anyway, at the time that I worked there, they got a coffee machine. And I got really into the coffee machine because I was like, oh my God, I love coffee. I will learn how to make the coffee. And I stayed up all night watching YouTube videos about how to make a coffee, like how to froth the milk, what's the difference between a latte, difference between the cappuccino, all the rest of it, right? I was like, I'm gonna make the best coffee and in my small town. I'm like 13, by the way. I'm very young. I'm like 12, 13. It's my first job. And I think, was it like YouTube or whatever? It was like really early YouTube. And so I was like, I come back in my next day of the shift, and I'm like, I was so impressed that I'm going to like, you know, learn the job, you know, and like do a really good job. And she was so upset with me because I knew more than her about the coffee machine. She just wanted me to shut up and make the coffee quickly. And I was there trying to like put effort in. And she was like, stop, no one cares if it's like, just like reuse the beans. And I was like, no, that will make burnt coffee. And she's like, it doesn't matter. And I was like, no, we have to use fresh beans every extraction. And she's like, no, you don't. And because I talked back to her, and I was like, no, I don't want to sell people bad coffee. That's not right. She's like, well, then you can stop working here. And I said, it would be a pleasure. And I gave her my apron. And I left. So, that was I was like a young teenager too. Like I was like a baby because I started working very young. Once again, my mum worked for full time, so the second that I could get a job, it was like, you're getting a job. That was what I was told as a young kid. It was like the second I was illegally allowed to be employed as a kid in Australia, I got a job. And I was sassy from day one, man. And this is why I'm an incredibly unemployable person. Because if I don't agree with the boss, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, to be honest, she was she was a horrible woman. Turns out years later, she was a terrible woman. I didn't know this at the time. I'm surprised it's legal for teenagers to work so early. 11 to 12, you can do light work. 13 to 14, you can do hospitality and fast food. Yeah, I was working at like, I think 13 was when I was working at a tuck shop when I was 13. And the problem was, like later down the line, I get it. Like she would hire these really young 13-year-olds, pay them nothing, and then just boss them around. She was a terrible woman. Like, and unfortunately for her, I'm a stubborn motherfucker. So when she tried to tell me what to do, I said no. Then she said, I will fire you. And I said, bet. Then later on, I got the job at the pub, which was way better. That was way better. And I worked for the pub for most of my like mid-teens. And then I got a job at a fabric store in my late teens. Yeah. Did you get free schnitzels? Yeah, you got that was the best part. That was the best part about working at the pub when I was a teenager, was you got to take home whatever you wanted from the salad bar at the end of the night. So like at that time, I would like take the old pasta salad and the bread rolls and I'd put it in a container and I'd bring it home for like Mexis and my bro to have and snack on. It was great. It was pretty good. The really shitty pasta salad covered in mayo in the bain marie. Nice. I remember singing the Hot Springs song. I love the Hot Springs song. Ba-bi-ba-ba-bo, ba-bi-ba-da-bo, ee-ya-de-ya, ah-ah-ah.